Hello everyone and welcome back to Rob's Gaming Table. Today on the table we have a special video for you. The awesome people over at Fantasy Flight Games have been nice enough to, again, send me some spoilers from an upcoming pack. This time it's from the first chapter pack of the third cycle titled All Men Are Fools. And to basically discuss these spoilers, we have two men who are fools here to do it, which is myself and my senior card spoiler correspondent, Kevin Austin. Kevin, say hi.
Hello.
And we're going to show you these cards, and we will discuss them together and reveal them to you guys. So, first up, we have Hoster Tully. Kevin, you want to read Hoster Tully to us?
Sure. He is a 2-cost, 1 strength with only a power icon. He is non-loyal. He has the House Tully and Lord traits. And he has the text, while Hoster Tully is participating in a challenge, each other participating House Tully character you control gains renown.
All right, give me some thoughts on the card, Kevin.
Rush, rush, rush. No, he's very interesting. So you can pair him up with the non-uniques and Catelyn, either version right now, and also Edmure. So he's got there's a nice little package that House Tully has that he can go with. So if you do want to go all in one turn, similar to playing Attorney for the King, you can just have your Tumblestone Knights and your House Tully Minstrels soaking up renown for you.
Yeah, and I like that you have to have him in the challenge, so he's not just sitting there. You actually have to, if you want to get him in other challenges other than power, you'll have to use something like Wardens of the North or Little Birds or those kind of things to give him icons to get him in those challenges.
Yeah, he's like a extremely small Eddard Stark from Wolves of the North.
Yeah. I like how he's just a cheap support character that basically gets that House Tully rush that you've been seeing the cards slowly release for, and I know people are trying it, and I know I've been sitting there going like, that's the first Stark deck I'm gonna give a run, and I've been debating building it lately, and then I saw these today, and that just made me happy and really want to build it. But the other thing that came to mind too, that's cool, it's like Fast Eddie, that Winterfell Castle, the strength buff one that when you need 2 uniques or more in a challenge.
Yep.
That might be playable in this kind of deck if you're always having to stick him in a challenge and he's only 1 strength, right? There's that and Lady and those kind of things.
Yeah, those things all help.
Yeah, they might be useful actually on this guy and work in that kind of deck to make sure those challenges that you have all these characters with renown actually can push through the decks that have the the higher strength defensive characters and shenanigans. The other thing I like too is that Summer can bring him back, so you may not play more than 1 or 2 of this guy, but similar to Bran or Arya or whatnot, that he can be brought back in that kind of deck if you throw a Summer in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Lord traits, I noticed you can get him in free with Noble Cause. I mean, you're not going to always do that, but having that Lord trait makes like Seal the Hand and Bodyguard work with him. So if you can get him another icon, I know this is janky. I know this involves sticking more attachments on a 2-cost character with 1 strength. It's kind of dumb, but those options are there if you want for setup, even just throwing bodyguards on this guy. And you might want to keep him around, especially in a rush, because anti-rush, and I remember from first edition, is cards like Valar Morghulis to just blow up the board with all that power on characters. You're going to be attacked and your character's going to be attacked and they're going to try to wipe your board to slow down that rush, and bodyguards are going to help with that, and this is just another target for that to keep him and the other Tully characters on the board with all their power.
Yeah, the good thing is that, well, not necessarily good, but it's less of an investment. That power doesn't go on him. No power goes on him.
True.
So
True.
You're destroying all the other characters. But one bad thing about the 1 strength is I think Blood of the Dragon is getting more popular. So he, along with Bran, just dies out to that sort of thing.
Yeah, and Fire and Blood, right? The plot? The -1 strength?
No, that's what I meant. Blood of the Dragon. That's Blood of the Dragon. Fire and Blood
is it Blood of the Dragon?
Event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the good thing is if he's participating and Danny is shutting him down to 0, he's still participating. So that's still fine.
Yeah, true.
Definitely a good inclusion in those rush style decks that'll be creeping up slowly.
For sure, and like just even with sacrifice Catelyn from Wolves of the North, like just another way to get power on her because she doesn't have renown natively, right? She has
Right.
to. You have to kill guys, and sometimes your opponent's not doing military challenges against you, and you haven't seen Jon Snow, or like you don't want to play your wildfire yet to kill anyone. This just gives another option, another sneaky way to get power on them, like the River Run Minstrel, like just another way to throw power on Catelyn to get her boosted up as fast as possible.
Yep.
Can also help with Blackfish, right? Get his. Oh no, he already has renown. He already has.
He already
Renown.
has renown, but
Yeah,
like if Blackfish is blanked for whatever reason, this is a good another source for renown.
yeah. That he gains it on top, so that's pretty good. Like if he gets a Milk of the Poppy or whatever, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or if they happen, or if someone happens to be using something that removes a keyword. Currently, it's only Maester of Starfall, but the redundant instance of renown should still occur.
Yep. Yeah. This guy feels very supporty, like kind of like what's his name, Maester Luwin and Septim Ordain, those kind of characters. That's what he feels like. He feels like that version, but for a Tully deck. When you're not maybe you're not playing as heavy all the regular Stark characters and uniques and whatnot. But yeah, anything else you have to say about Hoster Tully other than him being amazing and cheap and awesome in those decks?
Nope. I'm not sure. He's non-loyal, but I don't know whether you ever bring House Tully into another faction at the moment because Catelyn and Blackfish are both both loyal.
Yep,
So
yep.
you could bring him in as a tiny lord, and then Joffrey original can get big.
Get a power from killing him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the dragons, right? They're non-loyal, but like they feel like they need to be with Danny, who is loyal, and it's like you could make a banner, but you could bring some of the non-unique or non-loyal little non-unique Tullys along with him, but like, I don't see that happening. But
Yeah.
all right, so the second spoiler card we have here is the Tumblestone, which is a 0-cost Stark location. It's unique. It has the trait the Riverlands. It has that new keyword bestow 3. So bestow is when this card enters play, move up to 3 gold in this case from your gold pool to this card. And then the gold doesn't do anything except for cards with reactions like this one. So reaction after House Tully character gains power, discard 1 gold from the Tumblestone to stand that character. My initial thoughts on this is it obviously pairs well with a deck that we just talked about with Hoster Tully going in there. Using renowned characters obviously twice, so the rush basically, getting a character to stand after they've just gained renown, throw them in another challenge, maybe they can get a second renown out of it. The other thing is Catelyn from the Wolves getting used multiple times. If say you use the 3 gold on this, you can stand her up, and if she's become like 100 strength, using her twice in a phase like we've seen with Seal the Hand on her, right? It's a little disgusting. She can be very defensive, like a defensive wall for intrigue and power. What else do I have here? Core Catelyn, using her in multiple challenges. If you have obviously a Hoster to get her power, you can use her in a couple challenges, but that involves like more cards together. It's a little combo-y and little it's, not going to be that easy to pull off.
You have limited uses on this, so you don't want to.
Yeah, that's true. And it's in the bestow, whatever, however you say it. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it, but bestow. You have the option to do up to the 3 gold, right? So you could, if you just want to pay 1 gold, you have 1 gold left, you have this in your hand, you might just later in the game not care that much, throw it out and use it just to get a second challenge through with a character with renown and close out the game. So you might only need to pay 1 gold for this, but it could be 3 gold earlier in the game. And I like that flexibility where you decide how you want to invest in it.
Yeah, it's good in that way. There's a few different ways to trigger it beyond just renown. You could use it with Eddard Stark, as we'd mentioned before. It could come up that a House Tully Minstrel triggering it would be beneficial if the character is knelt during marshalling, or you play that Minstrel during challenges somehow, because it is just enters play.
That's definitely a situation when you're playing against Baratheon Neil. That does happen a lot. I'm sure your Catelyn or your Blackfish would be knelt during marshalling on you, or maybe from the previous round from Stannis, right? And you just want to trick your opponent, stand it up. You could do it that way.
And the The event that just came out, the Wolf in the Night, giving characters renown could be interesting with Catelyn as well. So beyond just using them beside Hoster Tully or Eddard Stark, that's another way that could come up.
We just need like an attachment that gives characters a host Tully trait. Is that what we need next?
Maybe. Maybe it'll eventually come to... No, I think that would be a bit overpowered with complement that we currently have.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting. We were discussing River Run as well, how River Run essentially gives you an additional power when a host Tully character gains power. So this more gives you limited uses, but you get to use a character in another challenge, so potentially winning another challenge, not necessarily gaining more power towards victory, but...
True. Yeah, I see this starting to come together, kind of like the Greyjoy decks, where basically in like one challenge phase, all of a sudden like 8 power or more is gained very fast. I guess kind of like Martell tries to do later in the game, but it never really seems to come together. This seems very more synergistic in that whole rush with this and Hoster.
Yeah.
I see it complementing that and making those decks just explosive once they get the pieces on the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it.
But yeah, you just have to worry about... if you get it out early game, you have to really think about what you're going to use it towards, because you don't want to use it too early and then need that stand later on in the game.
Yeah, because this is basically could be a 3 gold location early in the game, and we've seen people play off Winterfell in the wall and stuff. Or the Arbor. They throw 4 gold at it earlier in the game, and it's part of their engine and gets it going. So it's like you can afford that, but if you are also playing Winterfell and this and River Run, it's like when how much do you throw at this, and is it smart to do it? And you gotta be good at making that call and when to do that. So the flexibility could hurt a player who doesn't. It's gonna take some practice, I think, with this card.
Yeah, unless we get some other things during the cycle that can refill on bestow or discard this location, then you're stuck with that choice for the rest of the game.
And that's kind of cool too. It kind of adds a limit to it, so it's not just like lasts forever, right? So
right.
If you blow them early on, you try to rush early. You're standing characters multiple times in the same phase, and then next turn Valor happens. Those characters are all gone, and then this thing's all used up. That's too bad. You better make sure when you use it and you empty it that it actually was led to your winning of the game rather than just a waste of 3 gold earlier in the game.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the 2 cards. Kevin, give me your overall thoughts on Hoster Tully and the Tumblestone. What do you think?
They'll be interesting. Not always together, but they have their own quirks. Hoster Tully definitely leads toward that rush sensibility for a new deck, or for a different faction than it has currently. Tumblestone is interesting, as we were just discussing, just getting those uses out for additional challenges where you need them for either version of Catelyn Stark or some of the other characters.
Yeah, I think overall they're both great cards for the Tully rush, the Stark rush. Get you a different Stark deck rather than just Stark kill or the normal Stark decks that are played right now that pretty much seem to use all roughly the same cards, and it'll pull some of the cards out of the binder. Maybe both these cards might pull some of the cards out of the binder, and even maybe in just a competitive deck, someone who doesn't want to go all Tully rush. I think both these cards maybe being a one of in the deck, as long as you're playing like Wolves of the North Cat and maybe the Blackfish. At minimum, if you got 3 of each in the deck, maybe throwing 1 Hoster in with those guys, or one the Tumblestone in there might not be too bad, because you get them on the board hopefully, and you keep them around, especially if you got their dupes and bodyguards and whatnot. These cards could help those characters be even bigger impacts in the game.
Yeah, and being able to stand the Blackfish early game before he's able to get his power ability turned on could help.
It speeds that up, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, these are great cards, and that's all I got to say about them. Any last words, Kevin?
Just one thing about the Tumblestone. It could be being able to use multiple characters and multiple challenges is good for crossing type decks. So if you're able to generate a renown on your second challenge, then that could be good for pushing through that third challenge.
Very true.
Hit the crossing bonus.
Yeah, any dual use set of characters is huge. Yeah, so these are Lord of the Crossing cards. I think for sure the Host Tully Rush with Lord of the Crossing is huge. That might be the way to go. But anyways, that's all we got today. So for more spoilers and more Game of Thrones content, stick around, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned to Rob's Gaming Table. And thanks a lot, everyone, for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.